What's up, everybody? CHM Carnivorous here, and it's about the middle of the month, which means it's time for part 2 of the Carnivorous plant tour. I hope you're really going to enjoy this one. I've got a lot of really cool things to show you, including some that aren't part of the tour, but I'm going to break away and show you. I've got some new happenings going on with some brand new pitches that are open, and there's a lot that's been going on with this side of the greenhouse, and so I cannot wait to share those with you. Stick around. All right, everybody, as I talked about in the introduction rather, this is going to be part 2 of the Carnivorous plant tour. And so I'm going to be showing you all the plants primarily on the wall rack, but then we're also going to talk about some new happenings that are happening in the greenhouse. I'm going to show you some new, never before seen pictures that are opening up for the first time today, and then just give you an overall tour. So this promises to be kind of a longer video, but one that I feel like is super cool, and I hope that you stick around to the end to see all the excitement. Now, first one that we're going to talk about is this one. I highly recommend, let me get it in view here. I highly recommend that everybody have a plant like this. So this is a clipeata hybrid, but what's really cool about this one is it's mixed with marpesa, and marpesa is a clone that Carnivorous has made, and for all intents and purposes, it's essentially Miranda. And so what that means for you is that you get these amazing clipeata shaped pitchers, but you get the ease of growth and the vigor of a Miranda. And so if you guys have been following the channel, you'll know that I have not had this plant all that long, and yet it is growing exceptionally well and very fast. So I highly recommend, I do believe that they still have this one for sale at Carnivorous, but they also have other hybrids. Now I have found that other hybrids with clipeata have not done as nearly as well, but this one has done very well for me. The next on the list is one of my favorite. This is a species called stenophylla, and as you can see, it gets these beautiful pictures. Now this is a very small, very truncate version of what they will be. The cool thing about this plant is the pictures are very tough. I did not expect that to happen. Very tough. Also, the plant is very hirsute, as you can see that. And what's even cooler about this plant is it is known in the wild to be a very vigorous growth point producer, if that is such a thing. And so it will produce literally up to 100 growth points per plant. And so you get these amazing striped, almost hand-painted pictures that will get significantly larger than this, probably 5, 6, 7 times larger than this, but will also have the benefit of having 100 growth points. So this will make a great addition for anybody looking to get cuttings. Now the next one next to it, the lighting is not so bad. This one's really crazy. The leaves are yellow, but it's not unhealthy. This is just the leaves that it's coming in as. This is an Ime, and so I've been looking into this. I'm wondering why the leaves are so yellow, but this is the way it's been since day one that I received it. What's really cool is you can start to see, if I can get it in the focus, you can start to see how it's getting that tall peristome, that tall neck, typical of an Ime. Now this is a pretty fast growing plant. Not nearly as fast as a like a marpesa or a Miranda or a Maxima, which is part of the family of, but it still is fast nonetheless. And so I highly recommend this plant as well. I was a little bit nervous about it because I didn't know how it would grow, and I will tell you that I'm very happy to see how it has grown. Now the next on the list is this absolutely gorgeous plant. This is a small version of the JB by truncata patient. And I'm going to slowly take you over here. Here is its big brother or sister, I don't know yet. But see, they get like this. Just an absolutely gorgeous truncata. And so that is what this one is going to hope to be. So it is growing very nicely. It's doing okay. Here you can see it's got a little bit of light, so I might end up moving that. A little too much light there, but it has done okay and continues to do well. This picture, as you can see, is going to be the largest in the collection. Largest for that plant, and so I cannot wait to see the picture jumps occur on this one. This next big truncata is one I've had in my care for a little bit. This is a truncata Hiroshima, and so Hiroshima is known for producing very large, giant truncate pitchers. or truncata pitchers rather, that are very, very striped. And so this is one of the largest giant forms that you'll see out there, and it will produce very, very striped pitchers. So I cannot wait to see how that turns out. Moving right along, this one is one of my favorites, even though it is a very slow grower. I might give it a repot just to see if that will speed it up. This is Astucia by spatulata by Jacquelinier. And I don't know if it's a slow grower or I'm just that anticipating it growing, but it is going to make some of the most wild pitchers that you have ever seen. If you look up those parentage, you'll see that is going to be nothing short of an absolute crazy Nepenthes, and I'm so excited about that. As you can see, there's multiple plants in here, so time will tell. Underneath here is a truncata Titan's Tower that has done okay, but not really fantastic. And so I've got several of those siblings that came from that batch that have just given me problems, but I am still hopeful that they will do just fine. Next here is Song of Melancholy by Bassiana. So essentially there's a lot of Bassiana in this one. It has done very well for me since day one. It is making some big leaf jumps and looks very happy. Everything in here is pretty dry. I ran out of water this morning, didn't get a chance to fill the humidifier, so I do need to get that taken care of. Next up on the list is a fan favorite. This is Talented Tower, which is complex hybrid. It's, I'm going to mess this up. It's truncata by Northiana, truncata by Fibiata by Northiana by VCI by truncata. So a huge complex there, but these pictures are just absolutely amazing. And so I cannot wait to see this thing grow to maturity. It's going to be big. And as you can see, it keeps that truncate leaf form for quite a while. This isn't a small plant. It's not huge by any means, but I'm excited to see how it will grow. This is another one of my favorites. This is Splendiana by Truncata. And as you have seen in the past on shorts and stuff, this one produces just these stunning sunset colored pictures. And so it had a rough beginning. If you remember me talking in past videos, this is one that came with that group where I wasn't really necessarily ready to grow Nepenthes yet, and they suffered under my care, unfortunately, quite a bit. But I have since been able to rectify that, and it is doing very well. But it just had a slow, hard beginning. This next one right here is starting to pick up a little bit of speed, but this has got to be the slowest growing Nepenthes I have ever seen in my life. This is a robcantleyi by Renoir-Tiana. And so if you've ever seen a Renoir-Tiana, think about that, but just absolutely enormous. This plant will end up producing pitchers well over probably 1.5 feet tall. It's just very, very lime green. But who the heck knows how long that's going to take, because it seems like this plant is taking a century to grow. But it's been in my care for a while. This is one of the batch that had a really tough struggle in the beginning. And so I'm sure that has played a factor in its growth rate. Up here we have a truncata Titan's Tower. These are some of the about 6 or 7 that I bought. This one has done well, and it's time for an up pot on that. But we shall see how it goes. Nothing too much to talk about here. I do have a much larger version of that. But this is the bigger brother or sister of this one right here, and some of the other ones that you see. Now this is the infamous robcantleyi by Raja by robcantleyi. This is the one that got stem rot, and I had to cut it all the way down to the base. And then, being the klutz that I am, that I broke the growth tip yet again. But this plant just will not quit, and so it is starting to produce leaves again. And so I am very, very excited to see this thing grow out and finally have a fighting chance despite its grower. So hopefully I can stay out of its way and it will do just fine. Here is that truncata Titan's Tower that had really bad thrip when I first got it. It was not looking good, and I treated it, and it is absolutely looking gorgeous now. Look at that, it's a perfect circle. All the leaves are gorgeous on it, although tiny, looking beautiful. This one is from Carnivorous. It's got a nice little leaf jump on it. This is Spatulata by Spectabilis by VCI Cobra, and it is almost impossible to tell with this phone, but it has got a ton of stripes, even at a almost microscopic size. And so I am very excited to see how that one grows out. It is putting on some quite nice leaf jumps, although small. It's a victory that I will certainly take. Over here, this is another one of those plants. It seems like I got a lot of on this wall that suffered under my care when I first got these, but it has since made a huge comeback. This is Maxima wavy leaf, and this is with the all green pitcher kind. It's got a new pitcher going here. It's got one down here, and these leaves to me are the most beautiful leaves in all of Nepenthes. Now there is another version of this. There's actually a couple different clones that have almost a Maxima type pitcher. I like the contrast between the all lime green pitchers with the purple leaves. So I'm very, very happy with this, very pleased with how it is done. It was a long road with this one to recovery, but we got it there. This is just one of my Bassianas that I moved over, or excuse me, Brixianas that I moved over here that is suffering. So there's not a lot to talk about here. I moved it from the back of the grow tent where it was getting mold, and has since treated it. And so I put it up here and it has done quite well. So I'm going to try to come down here with my bad knees. This is Ventricosa Denver by Truncata, and it has done okay. Look at that new leaf, or that old leaf. I mean, this is one that has given me, for Ventricosa, for some reason, I have the hardest time growing Ventricosa hybrids, which is funny because they're known to be one of the easiest ones to grow, but for some reason, I just don't have it locked in yet. But this one has done quite well in the recent times. This is the picture right before this one, so it has done very well. This one is, oh goodness gracious, Sanguinea. And so you see it's got two plants growing rather. This is an easy growing plant, very, very, very soft pitchers. It will get absolutely enormous pitchers once it gets to maturity, so I cannot wait to see that. All right, let's see what else we can come up with. Give me 1 second here, I gotta get repositioned. All right. These are the two siblings that I talk about all the time. This one right here got some food, so it is not liking me very much. But this is, and you get all this grass that grows in here from this sphagnum moss. It's insane. This is, let's see if I can remember, Nepenthes Vici Lowland by Sumatrana by Platychilla. And so you can see on this one, it has got that Sumatrana pitcher body. So cool. It's even got some red coloring. This one, exact same offspring litter, if you will, and it looks a lot like a Bassiana. So I love how you have that diversity when you buy these plants. That's why I tend to buy plants in groupings, because I think it's so cool to see the genetic diversity. This one has not done well since I've gotten it. I'm hopeful that it will do better. But this is Truncata Giant by Campanulata by clipeata from Carnivorous, and it has struggled since the moment I got it. But I am hopeful that it'll pull up a better recovery. I've relocated it to the wall, and it so far seems to enjoy that move quite a bit. This is a Ventricosa by robcantleyi. You see it's putting out new growth. It has not put out any pictures, which is okay with me because it is basiling quite profusely with one basal, but the basal has grown significantly, and the basal is actually picturing. And so I know it's putting all of its energy into that and not so much the main mother vine, and I am okay with that. I love those basals, as does most growers, so we'll keep it going. This is the infamous Renwardiana. And so this one gets those all line green pitchers with a really cool little eyeballs in the back of the inside of the pitchers. Really, no one can understand really what that is. Unfortunately, scientists don't know, but it seems like it's some way to attract prey. So very excited to watch that one grow out. It was a bucket list item, not a rare Nepenthes by any means, but one that you don't see available very often, despite it being very, very very popular. Popular is not the word. It's just, it grows a lot in the wild. So this one is a JB Giant by Giant, and so it is doing okay. It seems to like it in this little corner. It is growing a little bit slower than my other truncatas, which I find this one to do. What's really crazy about this one is that leaf is not even like a heart shape. It's almost like an arrowhead shape, which is so crazy to me. But it is growing just fine. I might end up moving it to give it a little bit more light. but it seems to be enjoying it just fine there, and we'll let it be. This one is Sibuinensis patches by truncata giant, and so I'm very excited to see this one. My friend, the plant prodigy, has got a big one. They're absolutely beautiful, and so I'm excited to see this one grow out, and hopefully it can be half as lovely as his, but absolutely gorgeous. Here is another Briggsana that seems to be doing all right. It put out a newest picture here, and I mean, look at that. I just absolutely love them. See the lid bristles on it. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Briggsana is just one of those plants that I've collected here and there as I go, and it just I just have 3, 4, 5 of them in the collection, and I just kind of let them grow, and they do their thing, and they're just fine. And so they're just kind of there in the greenhouse to fill space, but I love them. They're gorgeous, so why not have them? This one is one that I received for free from Predatory Plants. I don't know a lot about it. It is a complex VTI hybrid, and you can see it's VTI by how it's sprawling across the ground. And so not a whole lot to talk about on this one, other than it produces these very tall lime green pitchers. So you can see there's definitely lowland VTI in there with those long leaves. So we're very excited to see how this one continues to grow. It has given me no trouble, even for being sort of a plant that I don't know much about. It has done quite well. This one over here is another JB truncata by Payson. So as you know, I'm a big fan of collecting multiple plants. And so I like to get that genetic diversity. And so this is another one that's growing out quite nice. It has actually it's kicked it into high gear here recently, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. This is one of my favorites, and you don't see a lot of pulchra hybrids, but this is Lowii Boschiana by Lowii VTI by Sibuinensis by Trusmatiensis by Pulchra, and boy, does this thing produce stunning, stunning pictures. And so this is only the beginning. I've seen the larger plant of this, and they just produce amazing, amazing pictures. It's done exceptionally well for me, gives me no trouble at all, and just sort of sits there and keeps on growing very well. This one I've shown before. It's growing a little bit slower than I would like, but hey, it's going just fine. This is Nepenthes Bioc by truncata giant. And it has put out a couple pictures for me in my care, but nothing too huge to write home about. But I'm still excited to have it in my collection and excited to see it continue to grow. It's getting a little cramped over here, so I'm going to do my best to get down here. This is Glandolifera by robcantleyi. I cannot believe this thing has not basaled yet, as much as it lays over. But this thing just grows and grows and grows and is sprawling. And it struggled a lot from the beginning. It was one of those plants, you know what I'm talking about. And but now has done well. It produces these beautiful hairy pitchers that are just typical. The lid's dying on this one, but typical of Glandolifera. Look at just how hairy that is. But it's got that long neck of the robcantleyi. This big, beautiful plant is so weird. This is a Mira by truncata, and the crazy about this thing is it just grows straight up. It's insane. Like it doesn't. Sorry, I almost fell over there. It does not seem to want to fall over, which I was wanting to do so I could grow some basals, but it just keeps growing straight up. It's crazy. The next one here is robcantleyi by Sibuinensis, or excuse me, Vigorous by Sibuinensis by robcantleyi. And the biggest story here is look at that basil with the little pitchers, absolutely gorgeous. And so it is a very, very wide plant. We're gonna let it keep growing. Gosh, my knees are killing me right now. Last but not least, this down here, this is a Nepenthes SP1. It's a little hard to find back here. I've got the main vine, and then there are 2 basals growing out of it. SP1 produces very, very, very tall, very, very wide, robust pitchers, about a foot tall, but they are super, super soft. And so, yeah. Whew, I feel like I've been talking forever. That is a lot to cover, but I do want to show you some really cool things. I do want to give you an update on these. There's not a lot that I can actually show you with the camera, but I will tell you I've got about 4 or 5 babies that are growing already, which seems ridiculously little. Small victories, though, for the amount that's actually in here, but that's super exciting because that means those seeds were viable. and I expect much, much more to come. So that's super, super exciting. We've got another big, beautiful Mariliana by truncata here, or Nepenthes Caesar upper, producing, and so I cannot wait to share that with you. As you can see, here is the last one, just beautiful, hiding out there. That is an upper picture, and so that one will also be an upper. That actually looks more like an intermediate, the way the vine is hooking. All right, everybody, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I know that it was quick to see all the plants, but I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I look forward to sharing more with you. And as always, I hope that you have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.